very fortunate to have with us Ciara Barron, the Marketing Director of Blu Wireless. Welcome, Ciara.
Thank you very much, James.
Do you want to maybe tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I've been working with Blu Wireless now for 7 years. I am the Director of Marketing there. And Blu Wireless is a specialist in millimeter wave technology. We're based out of Bristol. We also have an office in Florida. Any applications that need quite large amounts of data, we create systems to serve connectivity needs of those applications. So we work into some complex markets that are quite niche across defense, high-speed transport, a little bit of motorsport. And the design, testing, and validation is also done in Bristol. And recently we've rolled out alongside Nomad Digital and Alstom gigabit internet network to Caltrain running through Silicon Valley in California. So that's quite exciting. If you've traveled on a train in the UK recently, you will know the need for reliable internet on a train. So that's quite big news for us recently.
Indeed, that's good stuff. So during this session, you'll be sharing some of your journey, your insights, and some of the strategies that have really helped you position Blu Wireless as an industry leader. So yeah, we'll jump in. So tell me, can you share a specific moment or a situation when you realized Blu Wireless just wasn't getting that visibility that it deserved? I mean, was there a trigger that made you think we need a change in our PR approach?
Well, specifically with defense, we were targeting an entirely new market, and we knew that the traditional routes to market weren't going to really cut the mustard. So our understanding from the sales team and the commercial team was that this sector is a very tightly knit community. So with a really long sales cycle and procurement cycle sometimes. So it was all about gaining trust and providing value to these customers. So then we needed to figure out how we were going to connect them globally. So that was where we started to think, okay, we need to change our focus, and yeah, we need a new route to achieve that.
Understood. So sort of thinking back then, what was the initial approach that ECPR took you through to understand Blu Wireless's positioning and objectives? I mean, how did they really ensure that the approach was truly aligned with your business goals?
Well, firstly, Lorraine and I had an initial kind of discovery call to understand the business strategies and the goals. We spoke about Blu Wireless challenges and the fact that we were relatively unknown in the defense sector. So it was an entirely new sector to us. So firstly, we needed to catch the attention of this audience, then try to make them listen to us, and also trust that what we were saying is what they needed to hear and wanted to hear. So no mean feat. Never worked in that sector before. So once we covered a bit of the overview of what we'd been doing up to that point, then we need to really focus our attention on the specific markets that we were going after. So we set up a workshop with a wider team, including my 6-month-old baby, as I was nursing at the time. So in between nappy changes and a few cuddles, we split our markets out. We highlighted the key people that we wanted to speak to, so within each sector. And then the focus was really about digging into what kind of made them tick and in their day-to-day roles, and kind of what kept them awake at night, what are their key challenges, concerns.
Those pain points, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where we spent probably most of our time. And then ECPR probed us continuously to just get to the crux of what those pain points were. So, you know, by the end, we almost knew what they were eating for breakfast. So that was quite a long, not laborious, but just a long, detailed, I would say, process. But it definitely, it does really help you get an understanding of who you're speaking to.
Mm.
So then after that, we had enough material to work out a proposition, which is really important because obviously that needs to resonate, and then that's where we would hang all our messaging from. So it needed to be a very concise positioning statement. And we had to be very disciplined in what we wanted to say, because the temptation is to say, and we do this, and, but actually you're just diluting the message by doing that. So
Absolutely.
we needed it to be very direct and really connect with the personas that we were creating for on that day. So following that, then it was fairly easy to build out the messaging, and that's where I kind of focused my attention to flesh out that messaging. And I spent a lot of time writing, refining, and testing these messages. So not only testing them within our department, but testing it with the commercial team, but also customers as well.
Getting that validation.
Yeah, so validating those just to make sure that those statements, you know, actually connected with them.
Absolutely.
So a meaty piece of work, but really worth it, because it's the foundation for all of our communications. And then we go back on a regular basis to refine and review and to make sure it is still working. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, good stuff. So thinking now like about, you know, those barriers, the internal barriers, many market leaders really struggle with that senior managers' skepticism, you know, around the value of PR. So
Yeah.
my question is, did you face any resistance when presenting, you know, the initial idea of thought leadership?
I think the best approach is baby steps. Often when you decide or think of somebody in your business that would be suitable to become the thought leader, you know, the idea of being in the spotlight often sets off alarm bells, because, you know, it really puts them out of their comfort zone. So I would say start slowly, ensure that you're asking the right questions. But at the same time, when you are speaking with thought leaders, just allow them to have enough space to really flow and kind of open up all of the ins and outs of their experience, and just be willing to listen to that, because often in those conversations, that the little nuggets of information do you know, you kind of could hang your a title of like a really engaging blog or a white paper, or it can trigger something that's quite inspiring for your next piece of content. So it's in those kind of conversations, not always trying to rush your own agenda to answer a load of questions, but allowing that space to kind of have a discussion and really get to get an understanding of that thought leader's experience. So yeah, I think that's quite important.
Stuff. So, I mean, was the, I mean, how did you overcome things? I mean, was there something specific that helped you convince them?
I think by taking the influence and experience of the business with the products, first and foremost, then understanding the customer and the customer's challenges, doing our own research, researching the markets, the competitors, putting all of that intel into a melting pot, stirring it all up through constant conversation and questions, really brings your team along the journey, so they fully understand your approach, what they're feeding into. They're a part of it. So I think that really does help to bring everybody along the journey. And yeah, it you know, there's no surprises at the end.
Great. Yeah, agreed. Okay, so I mean, every PR journey has its ups and downs. So, what were some of the unexpected challenges or those obstacles that you encountered, you know, while you were implementing a thought leadership strategy, and how did the team help you navigate them?
Blu Wireless is a startup, and we're now scaling up. We're scaling up right now. So, but obviously, when you're starting out, you don't have any concrete use cases.
Okay, yeah.
And in the ones that we did have, we couldn't talk about. So you're talking about hypothetical use cases all the time because you can't give away too much information.
Absolutely.
So we really had to make sure that the messaging was absolutely on point, showing that we really understood our target audience and their challenges. So that we regularly reviewed and refined the messaging to ensure that was on point. Quarterly workshops, that kind of thing. And open conversations, where we were just really involved in and listening into the sales, weekly sales calls, all that kind of stuff. So you're really a close-knit kind of team. Budget also being quite limited. We knew we had to capitalize on the expertise within the business because obviously they know the products and the customers and their challenges inside out. So capitalizing on that was essential to share their knowledge. And we had to obviously ensure that our messages were going to land with target publications. So again, using the expertise was a good workaround from a budget point of view, and it paid dividends because we have never paid for advertising yet. So that may change as we're scaling up, but up to now, everything has been, around our messaging and it landing. So that's really powerful. Being not afraid to try things, I would say, just learn from mistakes, or not even mistakes, but just if they don't work to what your expectations might be, just learn why they didn't and move on. Try something else.
Indeed.
So I think being not afraid to try things, managing different personalities. So trying to, you think, oh, great, in theory, thought leadership is a great approach, but again, it goes back to that point, like, you are pushing people outside of their comfort zone, and some people are more used to public speaking or having their name to a piece of content than others. And so choosing the right voices and the ones that are okay with being put at the forefront, I would say, is also
a bit of imposter syndrome that creeps in.
Yeah. And like we're a deep tech company. Everyone is it's an engineering led business, so it's not everyone's cup of tea to be, be rolled out to be the face of a piece of content or, interview or webinar or anything like that. So pushing somebody in that direction where the fit isn't kind of being too natural, I think you need to, tread carefully with that. And then use the people who are maybe reluctant in the beginning, but then with a little bit of, training and encouragement, then they kind of come out of their shell and get used to it, like anyone, I suppose. But ensuring an open line of communication is important, and working together on it so they eventually get into that comfort zone when being interviewed and or recorded.
Absolutely. So, I mean, what do you think they would say about PR these days?
I would say the proof is in the pudding, really. When you're receiving sales inquiries via our website, people asking to set up demos, and the fact that, like I said, we've never paid for advertising, and that publications are coming to us to feature us on a repeat basis now is a real sign that what we are bringing is of value and it's resonating with the readers in those sectors. So I would say, proof is in the pudding.
Indeed. So thinking about impact, I mean, can you share a story about how thought leadership helped Blu Wireless stand out against the competition?
Sure, yeah. At the beginning of the year, so this is 2 years ago, I suppose, we were given a target to get featured in one of the top defense publications, Jane's. So it's a high-profile military publication. And then by the end of the year, we weren't only featured in their editorial, but we were also asked to be interviewed for one of their reports. So, and they wanted to feature our technology. So that was a big surprise and a big positive for us. I would say by using the experts and the high profile people within the business who know our solutions in and out, you're naturally adding value as you're educating target customers about the benefits of the technology, whilst also telling them you understand their needs and their challenges. Maybe not their needs, but certainly their challenges, and you know what your solution is bringing to meet that challenge. They're the conversations that our commercial team have on a daily basis. So tapping into those and sharing them wider, further afield, it just reiterates the understanding of those challenges. So and builds that trust that we set about doing in the first place. So I think it's a win-win, really.
Absolutely. So have you now noticed a shift on how customers and the industry perceive your company?
Yeah, it's been a slow process. So patience is definitely key to this process. But now we're really seeing an increase in inquiries coming through the website and downloads of our content. And the quantity of inquiries and demos that we are doing is really kind of starting to really build momentum. So yeah, it is quite a noticeable shift.
So now sort of talking about yourself and your personal growth now as a leader. So, what personal insights or lessons have you gained from your work with the team on, such an extensive PR campaign?
Well, I think I mentioned patience already. So I think that this is probably one of the key things that it's made me. Yeah, I think you can't be all things to all people, and really understanding that, and knowing that, sometimes you might feel like you're not doing enough and you need to do more. But actually just having conviction and trust in the process and know that eventually it will pay off is one of the key things I've learned. And obviously that you need patience for that to happen. So just conviction in your strategy, constantly validating the messages and know that what you are saying is resonating, and just repeat consistently.
That cadence, yeah.
Yeah. So the hours speaking to the key voices within the business, that's also helped me understand their day-to-day challenges and the wider business as well. So it's given me a fuller picture of what it takes to run the entire business and the objectives and the goals of lots of different personalities and different functions within the business. So I feel like it's given me such a broad understanding of and a better understanding of what we do as an organization.
Thank you. So, they say that you can't manage what isn't measured. So, what KPIs or success metrics did you establish to, track the efficiency of and the effectiveness of a PR strategy?
So specifically with defense, we needed to establish ourselves in the US market, and with limited budget, as I mentioned, we had to be really selective in our approach. So in particular, we needed to increase our site visitors from the US, because UK was always our key traffic source. So to help with that, we used one of the key voices within the business, our president and CEO in our American office, Macy, and we created a campaign around thought leadership from his many years in industry, and built his personal profile on LinkedIn. So we called it an exec campaign. His he is ex-military, so he had a really targeted and wide-reaching network of key customers. So we knew we would have the reach. So by the end of, we started in 2022, by the end of 2023, our US traffic took the lead from the UK. So it was, I think it was 31% of total users were from the US. We increased website visitors from social referrals by 24%. Organic impressions from December 23 went from 7,000 to 13,000. In 3 months, that was a 68% increase, and interactions rose by 63%, and our followers increased as well on top of that, 14%. So there was quite strong stats there, and that is focused on just the defence market, but it was a very detailed exec campaign that we kind of set about for Macy and for the US, and it worked.
Some impressive metrics, yeah.
Yeah.
So was there a turning point where you saw like clear results from your strategy? Maybe a media mention, an event, or a piece of recognition that made you realize this is really paying off?
Yeah, well, we had a podcaster reach out to Macy, well, out to us, and wanted to interview Macy, and he's a tech influencer, which is with some really strong audience, with a really strong audience. His name is Evan Kirstel. So he had the interview alone had over 1,000 views on YouTube to B2B professionals. It had over 100 interactions and over 45 reposts on LinkedIn. And because we're B2B and quite niche, the level of interactions is never about quantity for us. It's all about quality. So, but these numbers were very strong. And he has 81,000 subscribers. So it was really getting us in front, getting the brand name in front of a very influential audience.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was good. And then when there was rail news at the beginning of our rail campaign, the Times got in touch with us to cover an article that they were publishing on UK rail. And it was called High Speed Rail, the train boasting 50 times faster Wi-Fi. And obviously that has like huge amounts of reach. It's over 14 million monthly unique web visitors. So it's a very, very sought after publication. So that was quite a good win as well. And then there was another, so COTS Journal is a publication that we were looking at for defence, and we were featured as one of the COTS picks in August 2024. So showcasing our technology, and they have, it reaches 58% of the military and defence electronics market every month. So that's a really targeted, perfect publication for our content. So yeah, that was really good. Yeah.
Some big wins. So
yeah.
if you had to define one of the most impactful outcomes from your partnership with ECPR, I mean, what would that look like? Is it about the industry influence? Is it about the customer engagement, or is it that internal perception?
I think working together with ECPR so closely, and then being an extension of the team in a way, and getting to know the broader team, the commercial team, and the wider business, I think a natural bond started to form, and rapport started to develop. So I think the biggest change, I would say, is internal perception, because by being so closely integrated into our own team, our own marketing team, and getting to know the other key voices within the business, it's just started to, that relationship started to develop quite quickly. And along that, the team have been brought along, and and educated about the power of PR and communications, and without really kind of pushing it too much. It's been just a very natural process.
Oh, yeah. So, okay. So just sort of looking behind the scenes there a little bit, you mentioned that, so you mentioned an extension of your team and how
Yes.
ECPR operated like that. So what was it that, what was it that they specifically did that made you feel confident that they truly understood your business?
Well, our president, Macy, who I mentioned is ex-military, he's
Hmm.
highly experienced in his field. He's hugely influential, really high profile network of people on his LinkedIn. So quite rightly, he felt a little bit nervous
Sure.
handing over his LinkedIn to us and to me and the team. So through many hours of conversations and ECPR just kind of got to the crux of the messages we wanted to get across, and allowing that time to chat and getting to know Macy and getting to know his background and asking the right questions and having a genuine curiosity about what it is we do as a business and him as an individual, and what the technology does and the problem it solves. So that
Hmm.
curiosity um, really came through when writing and sharing his knowledge on LinkedIn. So he very rarely had any amends to what we were proposing to write and the content that we were posting on his behalf. So yeah, that understanding, taking the time to understand him as a person, his approach, his tone of voice, and overall objectives as a business, it really kind of worked because he was happy to hand over the key to his LinkedIn profile.
Good. That's good. That trust is there, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, marketing leaders obviously that they often look for partnerships that deliver consistent value. So, what has ECPR done to ensure that that your working relationship remains productive and that Blue Wireless continues to see those long-term benefits?
Hmm. I think we tend to spend a good portion of our time planning at the beginning of each quarter. So understanding what's coming down the line, um, any good news to share, where we want to be focusing on. If we, with defense, we're keeping the momentum going, or with rail, we really want to kind of up the communications on that. So it's like what we want to achieve over the next 3 months, and it's a very honest, open workshop. So we discuss what's working, what's not working, and I think that open line of communication does ensure that we remain productive and keeps the relationship going strong. And the odd Christmas drink thrown in helps.
It does. It does. So, for those that are watching this video, what kind of advice would you give other marketing leaders in tech companies who aren't necessarily using thought leadership at this time as part of their marketing strategy?
If you want to build trust and capture the attention of your audience and your target customers, sharing the conversations and the expertise of the people within your business who have these conversations day in and day out, the people who are the nuts and bolts of your business, really does grab attention, and it really builds trust. And people listen to authentic voices and
Mm.
authentic storytelling. Um, and that's what's needed to really resonate.
Absolutely. And with that in mind, what should marketers be looking for in an agency when partnering up?
I think, yeah, people who you get on with is probably one of the most important things, because then it allows you to have open and honest conversations. People who, really do feel like and want to become a part of your team and an extension of your team and have that genuine curiosity. Um, I think that's key, because with that curiosity comes, you know, time and effort and listening, and
Yeah.
all of that is a key skill. So then you can go away and make your plans together and you feel like you're in it together, so you want success.
I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you very much. It's been really good talking to you this afternoon.
And you.
Thank you for
Thanks,
your time.
James.